Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Everyone. Well, it is a very bright and early morning here in Australia, and I know where you guys are. It's pretty late, so where are you guys?
I'm in Scotland. I'm in Edinburgh.
Wow.
And I'm in London, England.
Wow. Modern technology, guys. Let's all have a sip of tea. Cheers.
Okay. Chin chin. I'm glad that you're still. Are you guys spoons in the mug people? My mother used to hate this, but I love it.
I had mine and then I took it out because I felt as if I'd be the odd one out, and now I'm regretting it.
Put it back in.
This is chamomile flowers.
Oh, you fancy person.
Fancy Londoner here.
I just had this little dude. He looks really depressing. It's like a sanitary advert. It's
yeah,
awful.
well, somebody had to do it.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I'm so sensitive to caffeine. I can't have any caffeinated drinks, nothing. So I can't even have regular tea because I just get hyped beyond measure, and then I believe everyone's out to get me. It's like paranoia.
Oh, no.
It's just, you know, when you have, I don't know, I had weed once in my life, and we were not supposed to, illegal. And a mate of mine handed it to me under a bridge, which is so the place to get weed. It's just so dodgy. It was like from her trench coat to my pocket, totally not mixed with anything. And I was like, I'm going to be with this amazing person. I'm 29. I'm allowed to try weed once in my bloody life. So I go and I clean it up. I don't clean out the little bits and pieces that make you really psycho. I did not know anything. I just tossed the entire baggie in a pan with a quarter block of butter and fried it up, and then put it on toast for myself and my husband. So my hubby and I ate a whole baggie of weed.
You don't eat it. Not especially the first time. We don't eat it.
The whole bag.
The whole baggie.
Don't eat it.
With
Not
all the bits, with even the branches, the whole little balls, everything. So we're like, this is so gross, but we're going to just man it down. So we eat it down. That was when I was married back in the day. And he just went, I'm going to bed, and he just went to bed, and I sat in that bed and absolutely traumatized myself until more sun came up. I had every kind of vision and hallucination of it.
Nightmare. It's like delusions of paranoia, right?
The main thing was that my husband was organizing literally a band of these giant monkeys. They were going to come in the house, break through the window and get me, but like with can openers on the windows. And I'm just like, I knew it. I knew he was like this asshole. I knew he was going to get the monkeys and do it. And I was like, I got to end him first before he ends me. And I was like fighting this, like, it was dangerous. And the morning,
that's what was in the bag?
I don't know. But I said, dude, if you want to die, give me weed, because I was going to get rid of you.
Yeah, you're not allowed any substances. No.
Got rid of me. So now that is why I drink caffeine-free tea. That was a lovely story.
That was a great story.
Beautiful story.
I loved that story.
Don't do drugs.
I used to get these stories all the time at school. You know what I mean? Like, that's not changed. You tell a good story.
I do tell a good yarn. And now I use my voice for hypnosis. Knock people out. Oh, I love it. I love it. I'll be like such a goofball. I'm like, now you're getting lovely and sleepy.
Oh, no, don't. That will make me sleepy. You
must forget and deeper down into a state of restful awareness. And they're like, it feels amazing. I love it. I love it. I joke, but I do love it. I get to see people come in so stressed out. I talk to them a little bit. I do the whole, So how do you feel about that? And then within 30 minutes, they just feel so good. They're like, oh, I can do this. And that's amazing. It's a very, very, a feel-good kind of thing. So another feel-good thing is these videos. And even more of a feel-good thing, segue, is your movie.
Yay.
So I am blown away. I'm wearing my celebratory gayest jacket I could find with my gayest mug, because I am so thrilled. So tell us, what's going on? You guys have had some exciting news.
Yeah. So a short script of mine got one of two short scripts that won the prestigious Pears Foundation Short Film Fund with UK Jewish Film. We're over the moon and very grateful to both Pears and UK Jewish Film for picking us, because it is quite a I think it's very zeitgeisty with everything that's going on, but also it's, I know that they're taking a chance on us, and they know that this is a story that has to be told. It's a story about a Jewish drag king who clings to their hero, Pepi Littman, who was a male impersonator, as they were called in the early 20th, late 19th centuries.
It's how I live my life every day.
Nice. Exactly. There you go. So they call Pepi Littman a proto-Drag king. And our film is about how, due to kind of the being ostracized by their family, our protagonist clings to their hero, their one constant.
Wow. That's beautiful. And you know what? I've known you a long time, Nats. I've known you since high school, like in the 90s.
I know.
And I know your writing quality. I know your imagination. I can just imagine how beautiful the storyline is. Like, I actually got goosebumps when I first saw it. And that's where I'm like, we need to connect.
I want to hug you. You're so lovely.
I know. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, like, darling.
I'm
so happy.
It's going to be beautiful. And I'm so proud of you. Nat and I used to sing with like a little tape deck recorder in her bedroom back in Durban in the old days. And
giving away our age.
Cute. I tell you, so cute, man. And just to see, both of our life journeys has been very interesting. And I love how we did that previous video together. That was just so amazing. And then this now, I just love that we can kind of bump along, every now and then just touch base. And I get to see your entire career just unfolding so beautifully. And I am so excited. Thank you. I'm so excited for you guys. So Ashleigh, say hello. Tell us a little bit about you. Who are you?
So I'm Ashleigh Loeb. I am an actor, singer, voice artist, and most importantly for this, I'm a drag king. And I also happen to be Jewish. And my character is a character called Rabbi Shmeki Platzowitz, who, for those of you who don't speak Yiddish, which is me as well, Shmeki means penis, and I'm
such a child.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You know what? That is why I started. Right.
It's a bottle opener.
Love it.
So Shmeki means penis, and to platz is to worry. And so I came up with this. I actually came up with the name before I even started inhabiting the character. Because I had this sort of dream of, I went to a drag king night, a night in London called Boy Box, which is run by the fantastic
Adam Hall,
the fantastic Adam Hall, and I saw, a whole load of kings, amazing kings, and I just started sort of playing with it in my head, and out of nowhere, I think I was walking. In fact, I knew what I was doing. I was walking somewhere, and it almost landed. The whole name landed, and I just started doing what Natalie was doing, just giggling because it's hilarious. And then I did a workshop with a drag king called Trinidad and Togetho, who is a Trinidadian drag king, and I developed the character and I started putting it up on its feet, and here we are. And basically then I was contacted by Natalie, who was very excited to meet me.
Excited.
Because seemingly I am the only Jewish drag king who uses Jewishness in my act in Britain.
Wow.
Isn't that mad? I mean, I looked long and hard.
So cool.
And coming across Rabbi Shmeki was literally like, I felt like I'd struck gold.
Wow.
And then very quickly, Ashleigh Loeb, Rabbi Shmeki, became one of the drag king consultants, the Jewish drag king consultant on the film. So Ashleigh is one of the Jewish drag king consultants, and then LJ Parkinson, who is Louis Cypher, who you will show pickies of in a bit, is the other drag king consultant. So I'm lucky. I got two of you.
Yeah.
Two.
Let's have a look.
Oh, there's Louis.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Quite
stud.
sexy, eh?
Just gorgeous.
Yeah.
So
And-
I don't know about you guys, but I'm obsessed with Hamilton. So every time one of you say the word who or you, I'm like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Where do you come from? What you gonna do? Like my son knows that entire bloody movie. Movie? It's a Netflix film, isn't it?
Well, it is now, yeah.
Yeah, we went to go watch the play in Sydney. It was just mind-blowing, absolutely emotional experience. I think with COVID and everything that's happened, the fact that we could all be together, 2,000 of us with masks, the masks made it weird, but that end of the play when everyone jumped to their feet, I just cried like a baby because I was like, oh my God, think about as a globe what we've been through in the last 12 months even. Just to be able to stand there as a huge crowd and laugh and clap, like what a blessing, like really seriously beautiful. And my son's been gifted with tickets to go back in September, I think, so I get to go again.
Wow, it's awful
Pretty
for
happy.
you.
Oh,
You need me to come to Australia and go.
I was just going to say, we haven't really, I mean, no, basically, theatres here opened for like one night, didn't they? And then
so they're opening up again.
Because they're stupid, decided because they can't pick a strategy. They decided to close theatres down again.
Yeah, it's pretty janky here as well. There was a Byron Bay Music Festival, and it was like $2 million worth of festival, and it was set up and everything for the long weekend. And within hours of opening, the government was like, "No, we need to shut it down. There's been one case."
And then all that money that's spent. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I pivoted a little bit and started writing more for screen, which, look, I love theatre and I am going to write more for theatre. And Ashleigh and I and you, we're all theatre people, all of us here. And I long for it to come back. But I also think, that's why kind of a year ago, I went back to school. I went to the National Film and Television School and studied, because much like you studying as well, I guess. Look at all of us, actually. I think we're all wonderful.
Thank you. We took a lemon and we made lemonade, jumping out of running choirs and theatre stuff and drum groups. I was like, what do I do? And then, just put all that energy towards studying. And now here I am, hypnotist. And I can't wait to do...
You need to do a show as well.
I am going to, and I'm going to be in touch with you when COVID's all over to see how I can get involved.
Good. Totally. Yeah. Oh, you so must.
Because I want to do shows, but all with a really funny, humorous aspect and a bit of healing as well for the audience.
And a bit of singing.
Yeah. And imagine if I can hypnotize everyone and give them a real feel-good vibe, and they can feel so less anxious and less stressed. They'll walk out of that auditorium feeling like $1 million. It'll be amazing.
What's his name? The hypnotist that does mass big hypnotism shows. I can't think what his name is. I'm thinking that you might be the
gay
queer.
I remember
queer. I think he's gay, but
we have to take him
crazy.
Out. I remember there being a hypnotist that came to our school, Sandy, and I have a very clear memory of knowing which kids smoked because they made I can't remember exactly how he did it, this guy, but he made everybody who smoked in the audience, every time they wanted to take they wanted to take a drag, they would roar like a lion. And I have a very clear memory of afterwards. So like we were in the break of like a young teen just being like rah at me, and me being like, oh gosh, okay, what is this? You're a smoker. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. Very.
I remember the name. I remember the name. Darren Brown.
Yes,
you know Darren
Brown. Of course,
he's very cool. Yeah, I'm loving it.
You can be the queer, non-binary version of.
So here's Darren Brown. I'll be Heron White.
Nice.
Totally not competing against you, Mr. Brown. Heron White.
I saw him once coming out of a voice studio. I was going in and he was coming out, and I was like,
"That's cool."
You go, look into my eyes.
Look into my eyes.
Yeah.
You know when it's for work, and you're like, "Don't freak out."
So I had the only time I've ever felt that like weird psycho fangirling thing, like because I've worked with a lot of bigger names and just been like, what's up, let's hang out, because I just don't care. But the only person I freaked out over meeting was Mandela. That was the only person.
An appropriate reaction.
I was just like, it was amazing. And we had sang in in the KZN choir, and we were at this festival, and he was in the front row of the audience, and I was just like, oh my God, Mandela can hear us. Oh my God. I was like, it's losing our shoot. So I walk down and I sit, and I'm like 4 rows back, and I'm just like, oh my God. And he got up and he's like, good morning, everyone. And does this amazing thing in Afrikaans, Zulu Kosa, like English. I was like, whoa, he just knows everything. And I had the only way I could record him was on my voice notes, because I had an old Nokia. So I was like, I'm going to just have his voice as when people.
So do you have that? Amazing.
Oh, it's on my old Nokia like 20 years ago. And I just thought, oh my God, we're going now. And I pressed record and held it up. And then it ended, and I saved it. And then as I stood up, I went, I love you, Madiba. And he turns to me and goes, I love you too, my girl. And I'm like, like I lost it. But the best part was when I listened back to the recording. So I would routinely phone myself from the home phone just to hear his voice on my voicemail. And you know what it said? It said,
on your
we are
voicemail.
not, his voice that would go, please leave your little after the message. And he goes, we are here to answer the call. And I was like, whoa. And it was this whole thing that was perfect for a voice note. And then it ended like, and where the people stand together as one. And then it was beep. And I was like, oh, thank you.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. So I used to get people going, whoa, was that actually Mandela?
That's amazing.
Wow,
Sandy.
I feel so inspired.
That's insane.
It was mental. I wish I had more available to me, like to actually be able to extract that audio, to be able to, you know what I mean? Like we had nothing. we just had nothing.
Right? Things have
I had
so
a cassette
changed.
player. That's all I had.
know.
But yeah, in my memories, totally beautiful.
It's good though. It's a good memory. See, I told you, she spins a good yarn, this girl. Yeah.
Beautiful stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the day I bought a pair of shoes called Kicks and decided to be cute and do like karate moves. And I kicked and the shoe came off and hit a car. And then I was like, it's not really a kick if you can't kick while wearing them. Bad branding. Yes. All right. So we're going to just have a quick look through the pictures. And you're going to just tell us a short little bit about each picture. So very quickly, tell us quickly, what's in this picture? What's happening?
So this is me. This was a series of portraits, part of a series of portraits that were done as part of the Man Up competition. So as part of the competition, when you enter, they do these amazing portraits. And basically that is the best picture of me as Rabbi Shmeki that exists.
I love it.
Very handsome.
Yeah.
I think a lot of ladies would definitely want to tap that, Rabbi.
But also quite like nerdy in a cute way, like that kind of thing where you're like, I could learn from you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nerdy in a cute way.
I see calculus
like,
and
nerdy
algebra.
And I like that kind of nerd. Do you know what I mean?
I love it.
Like, I can.
And Rabbi Shmeki is, as a character, he is a Hasidic queer rabbi. So he identifies as male, but he's very trans inclusive. He's probably bisexual, and he's quite sort of. So one of the pins on my lapel that you can't see in that photo is also of like a Jewish, like a Star of David with anarchist, with not anarchist, what's it called, Antifa flags in it, which is the anarchist flag and the Marxist flag, I think. So yeah, he's quite an interesting.
He's an interesting mix of things.
He's an interesting character. He's actually somewhat inspired by a rabbi that I know, but who isn't Hasidic. But yeah.
All right. All right. So let's go on to our next one. So that's
Ashleigh.
No.
It's me with my actor face on.
No.
That's the same. Go back one. That's the same person.
Yeah.
Great, isn't it? Really love that.
That's me with my activator.
I'm what?
That's
Okay,
the
firstly,
advert.
amazing hair. That is
Thank
amazing.
you.
Transformation is
It's
always
less
so
long these
interesting.
days.
So what
So
is
this is Homers and Hummus, who are one of the Jewish drag groups that were so vocally championing. They were vocal champions of Make Me a King, which is the Jewish drag king film that we're chatting about today. They and Pink Peacock, who I'm not sure if there's a picture of you of Pink Peacock, but Pink Peacock's really interesting. Ashley, you could probably speak more about it, but they are in Glasgow. They are about to open. They are a queer Yiddish anarchist pay what you can cafe.
Wow.
Practice that, and they've also been amazingly vocal about being champion. I can't say championing. There you go. They were vocal champions of Make Me a King as well. Yeah, really, we've had so much support. There's Louis Cypher, but yeah,
different characters.
Different character. This is the character that LJ Parkinson, who's also an actor and our other drag king consultant, plays in the West End's Death Drop at the Garrick Theatre, which is about to open again, which is very exciting. They are the only drag king in a show alongside loads of RuPaul's drag queens, and they're representing the kings in it.
I actually cycled over to that part of London, and I parked my bike outside. I locked up my bike right outside. I think is it the Garrick Theatre?
Yeah, it is the Garrick.
That they're playing at. And I looked up and I was like,
LJ!
I know LJ! They're awesome! That's so awesome! They're there! And it's a big theatre.
They're awesome.
Big theatre.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very, very cool.
Very cool.
Okay, so this is the image that you sent me and said there that it's a
this is our Kickstarter image. So basically,
tell us about that.
So we were lucky enough, as I say, to be one of the Pears Foundation Short Film Fund winners, and they generously give us a portion of money to be able to make the film, and that really allows us to make the film it's enough money to make the film in the simplest way. But this Kickstarter was started because we really felt like, there's a massive beating heart at the core of this film, and we want to make it extra special. And if we can get that extra money to pay for the better location, the better equipment, to make sure that our actors are getting paid equity rates, to make sure that that we are, we're going above and beyond as much as possible to really add the cherry on top. Because our film gets automatic entry into the BAFTA qualifying UK Jewish Film Festival, which means, it's going to go places. And we really want to represent drag kings, because this is the first fiction film about a contemporary drag king.
Yeah.
That also has a drag king like Pepi Littman, who you see here, who was a real life, as I say, proto-drag king that performed in the early 20th century.
Wow.
So this is a first. It's really unique, and that's why we've got the Kickstarter. I'll just stick it there in the
okay,
in the comments there, so you can see it. But
so if you're on Kickstarter, how would you find your?
You would type in "Make Me a King," and it would come up, or that link that I've just put there in that private chat. Perhaps you can share it, Sandy. That would be great. And it ends on. With Kickstarter, it's all or nothing. So we're nearly there. We've raised over £4,000 in our Kickstarter.
Wow.
Our target is, so I think we're on, I need to check. I will tell you right now, because it's moving, We're on 4,900, and we need to get to 5,600. If we don't get to our target, we get none of it.
Yeah.
So 700 to go.
700 to go.
That's amazing.
That is.
I'm trying to find the Kickstarter link for you.
I'm so excited. I didn't realize. I'm like, that's really.
We're very, very close. We're very, very close. Come on, guys.
We've only got 2 days to go. So basically, middle of Saturday noon UK time, it closes, and if we haven't hit our goal, we don't get anything, which is the way
Wow.
Kickstarter works. So I'm saying, please, everybody, even if you can bung in a fiver, that would do us the world of goods. Thank you.
That's very scary in a way, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be sleeping at all. I'd be just like, oh.
Yeah, I haven't slept for a while.
I'd just be watching the counter. So
I have to say, I keep waking up as well and being like,
and checking it. I know. I'm literally sitting there. I check. I'm like, is there anything? Is there any movement? But people have been incredibly supportive, and I am super grateful. Because this is a difficult time with COVID and stuff. You know, we're asking people to support artists. But you do find that it's mainly artists that support artists. So that's why we're trying to get the word out and make sure that we're not just stuck in our kind of vacuum on Facebook of other artists. We want to make sure that, you know, it's getting out to folk who consume art, who are aware that, you know, we've been through a hell of a time. We've lost all of our work. And we just want to make sure that it reaches folk who do have the means, who can support us and support the actors that are going to be in the film, and the crew that's going to be, you know, holding that camera or setting up that light or holding that boom.
It's important, you know. We need to all be earning a fair share. You know, it's I've been very blessed working with creative people here in Australia. I haven't often had a place where I haven't been paid or, you know, been expected to just work for free. So it's been very good to be honored in that way. But, you know, you need that sort of representation. You need people speaking out on your behalf. You need people taking a stand. Otherwise, none of that ever happens. So, you know, it's commendable.
Exactly.
That you guys
and this is a special one, you know. There's LJ. You know, you saw that old man earlier from the Garrick Theatre, or that sexy man there, same person, and quite a wonderful transformation, very similar to what Ashleigh was like with Rabbi Shmeki Ashleigh. You're like, what is this really? The transformation.
It's amazing.
And LJ, as part of the Kickstarter, is actually, LJ runs Drag King workshops where you can learn to drag up for a day, and that's one of the rewards on the Kickstarter is you can buy a workshop and it's bespoke. It's specifically made for Make Me a King, where just 6 people, usually LJ's workshops are more, but just 6 people online can work with LJ and get the drag king on, their alter ego.
Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, the whole process.
It's really...
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Really cool, right?
So now who is this?
So this is Martina Russo, who is the producer, who is their company, Unlike, are the producers of Make Me a King. And really grateful to Unlike for supporting the script. And Unlike, Martina was the one who said to me, do you have any ideas about, like, because the Pears competition is specifically about British Jewish life. And I said, you know what? I actually came across this amazing drag king called Pepi Littman, who lived, 110 years ago. And that's when it started. So it's thanks to this woman.
Wow. That's exciting, man. And who's this hot thing?
I just got new headshots done. Can you see? This one, my partner says, you look a bit smug. And I'm like, maybe I am. Maybe I'm feeling it. Nah. I'm like, do I look smug? I don't know. I
think to myself, which male Hollywood executive throughout time has had a photo shown to him and thought, I look smug, I won't use that.
Exactly. Like, whereas I look a little smug. I'm going to use
Put it on the bus. Put it on the bus. I look smug as.
You see, this is the point, isn't it? This is why we're making this film.
Powerful.
Yep.
So
and there's Pepi.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the attitude here. Like, this is a whole mood.
Yeah, like so that's Pepi with the hat on. And Pepi's characters were always, they had quite a few characters, stock characters. Pepi was part of the Bruderzinger, which was an itinerant folk group, Yiddish folk group that traveled everywhere, that performed all over Europe, in the UK and London, the Americas, and they were, you know, they were like the Saturday Night Live of the time, sketch shows, satirical sketch shows, really pushing boundaries. I mean, Pepi dressed as a man, not just a man, as like, you know, with pace and like as a, I mean, you could probably speak more to this, Ashleigh, actually, about how this would have been seen at that time.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the very visibly male Jewish look of Hasids is very distinctive, and it's probably, it would have been quite shocking. And yet at the same time, I think, I mean, I'd be really interested to know how it went down then. I think these days, so I can speak to my act and walk about how, you know, contemporary Jewishness. I mean, I'm fortunate to be a part of a very queer, inclusive, progressive synagogue in London. And to be bluntly honest, as soon as one of our young people in our community found out that I did drag, immediately then asked our rabbi, who also knows that I'm a performer, asked her if we could have a drag themed Purim. And Purim, if you don't know, is a festival where you're supposed to dress up anyway. And
like Halloween, so kind of.
It is, not really, yeah. So you're supposed to. So the story is, I mean, in a nutshell, the reason why you dress up is it's supposed to be because the Jews hid from the Gentiles, and so in doing that, you hide from the Gentiles by being somebody else, and so it's not unusual to see over in Stamford Hill, which is the very Hasidic area of London, people dressed up in wigs and all of that. But in terms of like how it would have been seen then and how it would be seen now, you know, I can't speak to, I'm not part of the Hasidic community, so I can't speak to that. But my rabbi is very supportive of it, and but we're rather progressive and awesome, basically.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you read the reviews of Pepi, you know, at the time, even if you go on Wikipedia, you can read the reviews of people chatting about how Pepi was the star. Pepi was the star of the show. Pepi came out dressed as, you know, a male cosset, or dressed like you see Pepi right now, looking really jaunty young man there. And Pepi had an incredible voice that kind of transcended, very similar to what we were talking about earlier, Sandy, you know, had an alto voice, you know, a nice low female voice, but could go down into the tenor range, could sound quite operatic down there, and was funny. And
it must have been quite a big thing. I mean, okay, so I'm going to now just throw back to Shakespeare, where men just wore women's clothes all the time and it was fine, and even dressed as teenage girls and got fondled on stage, and that's great. But it must have been, because I think specifically from what I know of the Jewish culture, it's can be quite, there's quite a lot of rules around it. There's a lot of structure.
Depends which Jewish.
In my experience, so my Jewish family that I've seen, I grew up in a lot of Jewish homes and stuff, going for dinners and Friday nights, you know, doing the dinner with them. And there was always, especially from the men's point of view, the women had specific roles that they were allowed to function within, but anything outside of that was just not okay. And the other woman would also be like, no. So to see a woman just bash down those glass walls and say, I'm going to just do what is going to make people laugh, that's powerful. That's a brave person.
And people did laugh, and men laughed, you know, at the kind of stereotypes, the male stereotypes that Pepi kind of paraded. You know, it kind of forced them to look at themselves, look in a mirror, you know.
I was just going to say, it's like holding up a mirror, you know. And the thing is, a good sense of humor is the key to a lot of change. If you can make people laugh while showing them that something won't kill them, they're generally okay.
I mean, what do you think when you do drag kinging, Ashleigh?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, Jews love to laugh. That's the first thing. Like, laughing is definitely a Jewish, definitely a Jewish trait. I'd say so. One of the things about it's very interesting, especially right now. In fact, I was just telling Natalie earlier on the synagogue that I belong to. We just found out it's 100 years since the first service that the synagogue that became our synagogue had, not very far from where we're based, basically. And there was protests. There was vocal protests that tried to disrupt the service because it was progressive and because it was, and this was 100 years ago. So we've started this conversation 100 years ago.
And we're still asking the same questions, but hey.
We're asking some of the same questions, and we're asking some different. And there is the other thing that I would say about Judaism is they talk about wrestling God. It's not about receiving instruction from God. It's about wrestling God, and it's about arguing with God. And you don't just say yes, no, thank you. You wrestle with it. So it's quite interesting. I know with my the rabbi at my synagogue, we do have a few trans and non-binary members, and we're starting to have conversations in the Jewish community. I mean, I think those conversations are sort of further along over in America, but they're starting to happen in the UK about how do we accommodate. Please excuse me if you can see my cat around the back of me. But sorts of menagerie animals coming in and out of the shot. But we're having conversations about how we can be more inclusive, and I would say there's quite a few. There's quite a few. So cheeky. There's quite a few synagogues. Obviously, it's no longer, especially in the liberal movement and the reform movement, actually, in the UK. Gay marriage is de rigueur. It's really no different from heterosexual marriage, and so at Pepi's time it probably wouldn't have been. Obviously, it wouldn't have been that progressive, but it's interesting to see where we came from and where we've gone, and at the same time, there's still validity in. I mean, I always say that in becoming visibly Jewish, which I'm not on a normal day, it's quite vulnerable making. But in putting on masculine clothing and putting a bulge down my trousers, that is quite sort of empowering. So it's very much kind of changing my in a way it's changing my perception of myself. That makes me feel and makes the audience feel, and I think again you bring that the peyot and the yarmulke and the big beard, you bring that into a queer space, and again it's also to an extent somewhat taboo, so it's very interesting.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's interesting to just hear from the perspective of someone who's really walking in those shoes. I do drag only online just for fun and but I haven't ever performed as it. But I think when I do my hypnotist show, it will be in a queer space that I'll be doing that. So I will be presenting more masculine on the stage while still being queer. So interesting. So who is this gorgeous specimen?
He's wonderful. Dr. Phil Alexander, who is a klezmer and Yiddish musician and also a doctor of Yiddish music and Yiddish language. And we needed an expert. We have our drag king consultants. We needed a Yiddish music and language consultant. And Dr. Phil is that. Also a very talented musician. And who has been doing great research. So that's Dr. Phil's book that's just been published, Sounding Jewish in Berlin, and he's been doing some great research. I actually found out very sadly that Pepi, after Pepi's husband passed, Pepi led the Brudersinger. So at that time, a woman leading one of the top performing groups around the world. made a hell of a lot of money, gathered fans that were royalty, literally, but died penniless after the war.
I was wondering how things ended.
Not so good for Pepi, not so good. And that's, we hear these stories over and over again, Nina Simone, all these incredible artists but with Pepi, it wasn't any kind of like Pepi squandered it or anything. It was, Dr. Phil said he's not, well, no, it was to do with the war. It was to do with how the money was held. And Dr. Phil said he can't quite figure out if it was that these were like notes of payment that just didn't come to fruition because it was after, or if just where it was held, the physical money, essentially the physical notes were destroyed. But Pepi's fortune was literally destroyed, and it's a riches to rags story. And Pepi also kept quite quiet about it at the end of her life. So, it was going hungry, but nobody knew.
Oh, well, you know what? Bless. And as someone who, I'm spiritual in a way, I know Pepi is watching you guys and very much present and involved in it. And that's exciting to think, there's that energy behind it. The memory of her is alive and active,
Absolutely. And inspiring.
Echoes of her.
Yeah, exactly.
In Jewish communities, you say about somebody that's passed, you say, may their memory be a blessing. And that's, I think that's very much what we have with Pepi. And
the memory
was make me a king. Mm-hmm.
Her memory is a blessing.
Beautiful.
It's a huge blessing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that. I love that. All right, so I added something onto the end here.
Mm-hmm. Amazing! Wow, I kind of love that.
I had to become a merman.
I was going to say, but also it's quite like Scandinavian.
Yeah, very much. My genetics are very strong.
I know, eh? Like you look like a proper like.
And that one.
I love that.
I love that.
Hottie. Love that.
That's awesome.
And I had like 10 minutes to do that, so it was like a race, like a
Gosh,
makeup
it's very good.
Race. I just love
I have to say that's a very like Australian look. That's a very.
That's true. That's so funny that you said that.
Put another shrimp on the barbie. I'm going to murder this.
I have to say, like, I just, it was really weird. It was those moments where we did these makeup challenges. That's when I was like, ooh, I actually feel happier like that, like with the beard, with the darker eyebrows. And I always had these really plucked eyebrows. Now they're just wild. They just I've left them to do their own damn thing now. But I was always taught to be very well put together, and the eyebrows had to be just so, and the dress had to be just so. And I very much love running around in sort of guys' clothes now, just feeling a lot more comfortable in my skin. But
it's interesting to play with gender in that way, though, isn't it? Yeah. And when you can kind of, I mean, for me, I did it in my bedroom. I did a little online drag workshop because I was interested, and playing with gender and kind of stepping, but it's me. Do you know what I mean? And I think like I'm definitely a cis woman, but we all have these, we're all on that spectrum, I think. And like, I really enjoyed trying it on. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same. Since performing as Rubbish Mickey, I'm not as concerned about getting my eyebrows sort of done. And the beard, I mean, immediately when I came up with the character, I was like, I need a great big beard. And my grandfather had a big old beard, and I'm kind of fascinated by beards. Like beards are always, because there's something.
What I mean, if you feel like, I want to put one on.
Yeah, and if you're AFAB, even if you grow a beard, even if you sort of like tweezer the like some people do, they tweezer or they go on testosterone, it doesn't usually come in like great big bushy. I mean, you've got like even
some men can't grow that.
I was just going to say, even people who are even assigned male people, like a big bushy beard like that, it's a particular kind of hair that you've got to have, and it's just absolutely fascinating. And I remember as a kid like reaching up and grabbing I was like, Grandpa, can I feel your beard? Yeah.
Now you've got one.
I actually you've just triggered a memory for me. I'm just going to see if I've got it. Let's see what I think I might have a photo here. Just give me a second. So I used to run a choir. Oh yes, I know where it is. I'm going to show you guys. So I used to run a choir, and we were having a dress-up party for Halloween, and it was about 30 people in the choir, and I said, I can believably become anyone. So when I was an actor, I used to just be able to dress up and become anybody, you know. I could really change my whole appearance. So they were like, no, you could never. We'll definitely know it's you. There's just no way. You will definitely know that it's you. You can't trick us. And I was like, okay, well, I think I can. So I'll show you this now. Hopefully it comes through okay. Can you see that?
Whoa.
Oh wow.
Yeah, let's see if I...
You look like
That's mental. Sandy, that's mental.
And so I go dressed up as this guy, but I created this backstory. So I became Sander van der Heide, who was the brother of Shane, who was at the Rhythm Hut, which is where the choir was. And I had been living in Tassie in a tent for 6 months, and now I needed a place to stay. So that was my whole reason for being there. And one by one, I tricked the people in the place that were involved with the Airbnb. All my friends were all welcoming me. Hey, Sander, nice to meet you. I had a fake sleeve to cover my tattoos. So they were like, nah, this is not Sandy. And one of the guys, Ian, was like my accomplice. So he was introducing me as if I was his friend. Off we go downstairs to choir. I'm just sort of hanging around like a bad smell, inserting myself into all of the group photos. And then I would sort of just arrive in the photo and just lean right like into the people.
Like a
and
weirdo. I love it.
Oh, dude, in the photos, they're all like moving their arms like that. Like they just don't want to touch this really friendly stranger. And then when they were all just going, where's Sandy? It's like 15 minutes after the start of this thing. Like, what's going on? And then I'm like, okay, here we go. So I go around to the front and I go, all right, everyone, stand up. Let's do our warm-ups. And they were like, no!
That is brilliant.
I caught them. And then that was another one that I did.
Epic.
Yeah,
I love it.
So that was heaps of fun. I went to a party just sort of cross-dressing, but with all my dreadlocks in at that time. But you know, that's when you have those realizations that that's something you really enjoy and you want to do. I've had so much fun cross-dressing and just being someone else for a little while. I think anyone in theatre loves the opportunity to put on someone else's skin and put the lotion on its skin and just be somebody.
That is an amazing transformation, though, what you did. Like, that's insane.
It's fun, eh? But yeah, guys, this is it for us. We're coming on 48 minutes now. So
that was amazing. You've just been wonderful.
Live. I hope we've had a couple views and things across all of the different platforms. So we are on Twitch, we are on Periscope on Twitter. We are on YouTube, and we are streaming to 3 different platforms on Facebook. So, yeah, hopefully this will help get the word out a little bit. Hopefully people connect to the story and they see the value of what you guys are doing, and they get on board and really help with donations on Kickstarter. So I really wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
I know that you are going to be successful in this. It's a beautiful project, and I know you're going to succeed at it, whatever happens. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's been really awesome having you guys. Yeah,
always good to see you.
Oh, Brenda. Okay, so we've got a comment.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks so much. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so have a wonderful evening. I'm sure it's very late where you guys are. I'm heading off to a first aid course now, so I'm going to go have some brekkie and then go learn about first aid, which will be so
Go save some lives, Sandy.
Yeah, I'll save all the mannequins. So much fun.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, guys. Bye, everybody.
Enjoy. Good morning, everybody.